Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Miriam over here and I'm back again with another hair care video. So as you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be showing you guys how I basically trim my natural hair. And before we get started into that, I do want to just say a couple of things. So a lot of people think that just because someone trims their hair within, let's say they do 2 to 3 months, every 2 to 3 months they trim their hair, or every 6 months they trim their hair, doesn't mean that you have to necessarily follow that same schedule. You can basically trim your hair as on a need basis. If you feel like you need to trim every 3 months, or if you feel like you need to trim every 6 months, then that's fine. If you also feel like you do it on a need basis, then that's also okay as well. So for me, I used to do it in the past where I used to do it every 3 months. But I noticed I sometimes had braids in, so I basically kind of do it on a need basis. And I know that right now I am long overdue for a trim, so I was gonna trim my hair before I kind of get my next hairstyle. So I decided to make this video and kind of talk about how I trim my natural hair and a couple of tips that I kind of use whenever I'm trimming my hair. Otherwise, let's get into today's video. Just to mention a couple of benefits of actually trimming your hair. So whenever you trim your hair, this can basically remove any split ends that you have, because sometimes these split ends can travel from the ends of your hair and travel to the roots. So this can damage your hair. So by trimming your hair, you're basically getting rid of all those dead ends. It can also help to promote hair growth as well. And just trimming your hair overall just makes your hair look much more healthier, and it kind of promotes hair growth as well, because you've gotten rid of all those dead ends and the new hair growth is good to come in. So those are a couple of benefits for basically trimming your hair.
So I am starting off with freshly washed hair. I had already washed, conditioned my hair last night. I'm gonna go ahead and blow it out. Just definitely make sure your hair is clean. I feel like it is possible to trim your hair with, like, when it's curly, but I honestly just prefer to work with it blown out. I feel like it's much more easier. Some people also straighten it as well if you want it more straighter, so you can trim it easily. That also works, but for me, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to go into details, but if you want to see how I really blow out my hair, then click the link at the top here. That will take you directly to my blow drying hair care routine if you want to watch that. And when I'm done, I just like to twist the one area that I have completed doing so that it doesn't poof up easily, because my hair is like really poofy. Here is the video of the back after blowing it out before a trim. As you can see, it's pretty nice. I mean, not too bad, but it's definitely visible that my ends need a trim though. I just kind of like the big hair. Just a little bit of a before, and if you want to see, here are the split ends right there. If you check my hair, the areas that your hair kind of starts getting see-through and it looks more dead, like it's super curly and it looks dead in the split ends, those are the areas that you want to cut off. So that's what I was showing before, but I'm just twisting up the area once again so that I can work with my hair. I like working in sections. That's what I prefer to do. I go ahead and cut off a section. Sometimes I make it smaller, sometimes I make it bigger, depending on what I want to go for. So I go in with a comb first. I use that comb to basically just brush out my hair, make sure that it's properly detangled. And then I go in with my rat tail comb, and I use it to basically trim my hair. Now, if you don't want to use the comb basically at the end to trim your ends off, what you can do is you can also actually just use your fingers, like put it in between your fingers, and I will show that to you guys later. But then I realized here that I felt like there's some sections of my hair that were too short, so I want to go in and make sure that I'm also trimming those that kind of hair, because it's also super short. So I trimmed off a little bit of the ends on that one. And I'm just analyzing to make sure that I've gotten all the dead ends, and then I proceed to do the next section. So I just repeat the same steps that I did before. I'm brushing it out with my wide tooth comb first. Once I'm done, I go in with my rat tail comb and I comb out the ends just to make sure that I'm also properly detangling it, and just make sure that your hair is properly blown out and properly stretched out before you go ahead with this rat tail comb. You don't want to damage your hair since you're trying to take off the damage already. So just make sure that your hair is properly detangled, and I go ahead and put the comb at the end and I trim it off. As you can see, sometimes using the little comb, sometimes it can be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, which is why you can always switch to using your fingers, using your two fingers as the end to make it straight. But I just feel like when I use this, it kind of makes it a seamless trim because the rat tail comb is straight, right? So I know that I'm definitely getting it straight, and then this is where I kind of go in with my two fingers. You can also do this, but just make sure that you're doing it in a straight position. You don't want it like slanted or anything like that. And once I'm done, I go ahead and put that away, and then I start continuing to do the next section, and I go ahead and just repeat the same steps of trimming my hair. The area that I like to trim my hair is where there's visibly a lack of volume in the hair, where you can see that your hair is kind of getting see-through at that area. When you look at it, you can see the split ends, and also when you run your hands through it, you can see the knots that are tied in your hair. The areas that are visibly look dead, those are the areas that you want to focus on taking off your hair. Just a couple of reasons why it's very important to trim your hair. So besides what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the ends of your hair are actually the most damaged areas of your hair because they've been on your head the longest, because they started off from the roots and then they ended up getting pushed down to the end as your hair was kind of growing. So that needs to be trimmed occasionally. Definitely it's important to trim your hair, but then again, I'm not here to tell you like what to do. If you don't want to trim your hair, you don't have to do it, but I'm making this video for the girls who definitely want to know how to trim their hair. It is important to do that because, as I mentioned before, that does promote hair growth when you do that, because you're getting rid of all the dead ends. Holding on to those dead ends can make your hair look very bad, very thin, and very unhealthy overall. So you need to make sure that you're cutting off those dead ends. They're not good for your hair, and they can actually result in your hair being unhealthy and becoming thinner. This is an example of dead ends that need to be cut off. You see how the ends look very fragile. They look very coily. It looks like they're very uneven. And if you zoom in closely, you can actually see the split ends and knots that are on the hair. So that is the hair you need to be trimming off when you're doing your trim care routine. As I do that, I don't really care to make my lines straight. All I'm just caring about doing is making sure that I'm getting every section of my hair and cutting it off properly. Visibly, my hair in the front is naturally shorter, and I also think just hairstyles that I've done quite a few times, I do the front a lot. So my hair in the front is shorter, but I also just have to make sure that I'm trimming that because it also will have split ends. So that's why I'm not trying to skip any section of my hair. I'm just trying to make sure that I am trimming every hair that I can, just making sure that your hair is healthy. Oftentimes people tell me like, oh, I don't want to trim my hair, and you know, my hair is going to be shorter and everything like that. But honestly, in the long run, trimming your hair is much better for you because there's no reason for holding on to dead ends that are honestly just making your hair look less healthy and less voluminous and less bigger. In the long run, it's better for you to cut your hair than actually holding on to those dead ends because it saves your hair. Now, I'm not going thoroughly and cutting as much hair as possible because then again, I'm not a professional. This is just what I have been doing, and this is what has been working for me. But if I notice that I want to cut like much more hair, I don't do it at home. I prefer to get that done at the salon because I don't want to make my hair super uneven. But if you need a routine that is convenient enough for you to do at home and keeps your hair healthy, then this is the routine that you should be following. One very important thing I forgot to mention is that you need to make sure that the scissors that you're using are actual hair shear scissors, not like kitchen scissors or paper scissors, because that can actually end up damaging your hair. So just make sure that you're using the right scissors. So as you can see, when I'm using that comb, it enables me to have like a nice clean cut. But as you can see, I also go in with my hand as well and just make sure that I do that. So this is my hair after trimming it off, my whole entire hair after trimming it up. I feel like it's a little bit more even now, I feel like, and I've gotten rid of some of those dead ends that I had on my hair. This really works for me. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I try to do this every couple months, like usually around 3 to 4 months, but sometimes I have braids in, so I ended up doing it every 5 months. But I just like trimming my hair. This honestly works for me. I feel like next time I'll probably straighten my hair and then trim it with it straightened out, but otherwise I don't mind doing this. And if you end up trimming your hair at home, let me know how it goes for you. This is how much hair that I cut off, and this is how it looks like on just a white surface. You can see the split ends are on there, and the knot is also on that strand of hair. Otherwise, thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in my next one.